Huh?
Yes.
Okay, so I grew up in Scotland, and then you moved to London.
Yeah.
At what age were you?
I was 7 when I moved to London, hence the martial art training, as well as love for Bruce Lee. But moving to London from Scotland and having an accent like, hey, how you doing? You know, you're gonna get picked on by, the girls like you, but the boys get jealous. So of course I got picked on, and then I got sick of it, and my dad got sick of it because I was always getting into fights. The headmaster was always pulling me. It wasn't me having fights with 1 or 2. It was always 4 guys picking on me.
Yeah.
So throughout the summer holidays, I said, "Can I move to a nicer school?" And then I changed my accent and just tried to speak with an English accent. For a long time I tried to be James Bond, but it didn't work. and then I adapted a Londoner accent. It was like, "What, mate, geezer? What, yeah." And that's how I spoke for a while until I started to teach. And I know I'm rambling on a little bit,
right.
but when I used to teach gymnastics, I felt like I should have somewhat of a clearer voice, and that's where I tried to practice and pronounce my words. Because like a Cockney accent is really slang.
Right.
It's not really enunciating yourself or pronouncing your words, and
Yeah, they drop a lot of first letters, certain words, and H's and things. Yeah,
actually, like north. They'll say north with an F instead of north. So.
Now you touched on the accent. Have you found that because of your accent, do you think impacted what roles you're given or cast as?
Yeah, I think it stopped me from getting a lot of roles in the beginning, because when I would meet with casting directors, and I wasn't aware of this until I watched myself from years back, but I would have a joke with someone and they were looking at me and they'd go, "What the hell did you say?" So that, even having a joke and having a nice, witty sense of conversation with someone, I had to really be mindful of who I was talking to. And it was really my friends, my friends who lived in LA, who were like Canadian or American, would say, "Ray, I really like you. I know what you just said. I know."
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, should we?
No.
Nah, we'll spare them. We'll spare them the pain.
What does happen to a toe when it's struck by lightning?
I can't even answer it. It's too painful.
But I didn't want to play that character. I said to Brian, he called me up when I was in Chicago doing one of the conventions there, and I get a guy, he hands me the phone, and I go, "Who's this?" And this was that time when it was very early on in doing signing conventions. It was very challenging. I wasn't used to it because it was new. It was different. And Brian's on the phone, he's asking me, "So we're going to do it or not? We're going to do it?" And it came down to money, but it really came down to I did not want to play that part, because when I was called in, they called me in to play Pyro.
Oh, really?
And I was like, "Oh yeah, but I'm like, Pyro doesn't have a special power." I wanted to be someone that had I wanted to be Gambit, and so I was trying to think of all these moves I could be for Pyro, and be really cool and be all this Tai Chi and whoosh, whoosh. And then they called me back and said, "No, we want to play Toad." I'm like, "No, I don't want to play Toad." And he goes, "Look, Ray, we really want you to do it. Toad's going to be nothing like what it is in the comic." And I said, "Yeah, well, I don't want to. I want you to see my face, no prosthetics, nothing." He goes, "Well, can we colour your face?" And I'm like, "Okay, as long as I'm not," I was really fussy about it. I don't know, maybe my head got really big and the style was really big. I was like, because I just wanted to, show who I am, break out the makeup. So Brian was really good about that, and the creators and the producers of really helping me just be the actor and be myself on it. To be honest with you, I really didn't know what was going on a lot of the time, because I was too busy training. I spent most of my time training on the film. I was employed for 6 months but worked 4 weeks. And it was a really good experience. I wish I'd spent more time on set with the other actors and watched how Hallie and watched how Hugh worked. And it's really a sort of good thing when you work with some good people.
Yeah, it's a great cast.
Yeah, and I was young, I was really like, I'm going to go training.
Yeah.
So it was, I'd definitely do it again. It was a good experience, and I'm glad I did play Toad, because to the people who, to the fans who love Toad in the comics,
popular,
they're like, "Oh, good job."
About one last thing, Darth Maul. I don't know if this is true or not, but I think it was an interview that I read that was conducted with you. Because personally, when Phantom Menace was coming out, and I saw the first time I saw the trailer, and I saw the new villain, Darth Maul, and I said, "Wow, that's visually." I thought, Darth Maul stole the show. And then when you did the first time I saw that you had a double-bladed lightsaber, that was like, wow, it was just mind-blowing. But I understand that the makeup process was unbelievable. Was it true that I think you said this as a joke, but some people I think took it as gospel, that you considered getting tattoos so that you wouldn't have to deal with the makeup process?
No, George asked me to.
He asked you for real?
No, he was joking.
Because some people think it's real.
No, we were doing a screen test, and I just had my ears pierced here, and that was a big deal for me to have my ears pierced. And I was, it's really funny. I'm standing there with Rick McCallum, and I'm there, and it was, this is my job, like they could have said, what? Boom, gone, get someone else in. But I was standing, and I was like, hey, but they were looking at makeup, and everyone's looking at me under a microscope, and I'm like, what's going on? Am I doing something wrong? But they were just checking every single thing out with the colour of the red, or if it was too red, or it was too dark. Then they were trying out different contact lenses, and then I was trying to hide the fact that I had an earring because the makeup guy painted black over it. And then George was looking around, and I said, "Hi George, I'm really sorry, but I've just had this put in a few days ago. Can I keep it in for now?" I said, "I don't want to take it out because it's really taken a lot for me to have this done, and I don't want my card sleeves to fail on me." And so he went, "I like it. Keep it in." I went, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah." Well, I said, "What, for Daphne?" He goes, "Yeah, keep it in." I was like, "Yeah." So he was really good about that. So I was really happy. I was really worried though, but he was really good about it. So George is a really good guy. I mean, he's not someone that I know, but as a director, he's a really good director to work with, and he really just let me be. He approved all of the fights we did. He would come and watch us in rehearsal. And he'd go,
maybe one or two more questions. He's this fellow over there with the checkered shirt.
How did they choose the aerial scenes that they did in Star Wars? Because that seemed like it was a lot of you, like it couldn't have really been scripted, as the way you performed it.
The aerial?
Yeah.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
The aerial scenes for Star Wars, like like how you were fighting. Yeah, the butterflies.
Oh yeah. Well, that how it came about and how we did it for Star Wars. But George wasn't really. I had to be very careful because he didn't really want the Hong Kong action,
right?
Really quick. Whereas Rick McCallum really did. He wanted it. George wanted a traditional sense. These guys were warriors. These guys were samurai, but they were masters of what they did. He wanted to show, these Jedi's at their best. So I was very good at, in a way, subtle way, showing it. And for Darth Maul, it worked. For the Jedi's, it might not have been the right thing to do, because what I said was Darth Maul was arrogant and cocky, but he was a gentleman at the same time. That's how I played him in my audition. And
that's the way it came out.
And that's because he was a warrior, but he still had respect. And I had to go back and do some of the reshoot shots of me being angry. But I didn't think Darth Maul should show his anger. He was just his presence would show his anger. And what he did, and that's how I played it. So for a movie, they asked me to come back and be and that's why in the opening sequence I'm just smiling. I'm actually smiling, like there are two cowboys and I'm standing like, that's why I bring it. So I really got into it, and the butterfly works because it got me from A to B. Why was Darth Maul running? I was like, why am I running? I'm taking on two Jedi because you sent them up into a trap. Okay. That was my argument, because actually, to answer your question, I did think a little bit like that in Star Wars. I didn't realise. So I was always arguing, why are we doing this? And that's what brought the butterfly on. He was cocky enough to go, hey, I'm getting away from you, but I'm looking good. And the same with the spins. You would do a few spins of Qui-Gon and go, and look, because he's like, come on, have a go, let's have it.
Right.
And that's where that came over. He was cocky, he was enjoying it. And then when I go to fight Obi-Wan, I'm standing there, I'm egging him on. You'll see it, and come on. Because I walk up, Darth Maul walks up and down, and he's looking like,
pacing like a tiger.
Come on. I'm like looking at him, come on. And that's how it, because he's, he actually loses it. He becomes hateful, but Jedi shouldn't. Maybe that's why he beat Darth Maul, because he had a bit of hate.
It actually did seem trickier though, the way you played that role. You know what I mean? As opposed to trying to run or, you know what I mean?
Yeah. George was saying the whole point was to get him into the hole.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, but I'm running a lot. I'm doing a lot of running and spinning.
Yeah, it wasn't working.
We had other stuff in there that was really cool that we didn't use, like Obi-Wan running up the wall, and I spin at him, and he runs over me, and I'm like, whoa, spinning around. But I don't think it worked for cinema. It didn't work for George.
All right, you pick the last question, because we're running a little short.
Sorry.
A little long, short of long.
Yeah,
That's
the
all right.
dance you did in X-Men, did you make that up?
Yeah. I actually wanted to do some pop locking and stuff. Because I walk on set and I've been in my trailer and I'm like bored and we're stuck somewhere and I'm not allowed to go out anywhere because I've got green makeup on. So we're in this location, it's freezing, we're in Toronto. So I'm standing there and I'm reading through like all different, sports magazines, like different ideas. And then I walk on set and I knew what we had to do, but I wasn't really paying attention. So Brian's like this, he's like, what's up? And he goes, no, I'm just trying to think of what to do. I said, what do you want me to do? And he goes, well, you have to be there and there, but I want you to do something really cool and different. I was like, what? And he goes, like, I don't know, like a dance. And I'm like, yeah, well, I can come out and I can be like, bat, bat, choo, doo, doo. He goes, no, it's too modern. And for a joke, I went, what about jumping swords? Like the Highland fling. And he went, yeah, I love it. Do that again. Can you do that like that? And I'm like, yeah, all right. So I was like, okay, boom, boom, did my jump. And went, whoosh. He went, yeah, that's it. I'm like, great. So just things like that sometimes, and not to be afraid to sort of actually, speak up and say, hey, what about this? And sometimes your initial instinct would be the best idea.
And you'll be going back to your table until
Sure.
6-ish or before 6?
I think 6 is it.
All right, so Ray will be back at his table now. Let's all give him a
Thank you, guys.